Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Nightmare Journal. This is a dream that's not going to feature any art in this video, by the way, because there is no creature. It was just an idea, and one that kind of screwed me up a bit. A very emotional dream. You see, for those who don't know, I used to live in this very nice house in a small town called Jefferson, and I lived in this house from 2004 to 2012. It's where everything creative for me really started, where I really started to do art more. It's where my very first few characters came to be. I remember, like, in my Sketchpad series, I talked about a character named King Two-Ply, who, from my memory at least, was the very first character I ever created. I created him when living in that house. I created my very first YouTube channel in that house. Some of my YouTube characters I still use today, like Nat the Banana Ghost, Tug the Penguin, came to be while living in that house. I got ideas for others too, like Crunchus Demania and Alice Darkson. They are technically Jefferson characters too, even if they didn't make any appearances while living at that house, because I was starting to think about them at that point. This house was a very important time in my life, and a very nostalgic place for me. Is the definition of my childhood. It's a place where me and my sister and her friend would do their own series called Charlie and Ginger. It's a place where I met my most friends from school, that some of them I still have contact with today. I could go over several stories and several reasons why this house is very important to me in my childhood, but why did we move? Well, the house burnt down in 2010, but it was rebuilt, and we ended up moving because of other reasons. I feel as if it's very inappropriate for me to go over those reasons because they involve other people. Now, I don't want people to think it was something really horrible that happened. This alone would probably get emotional if I went over everything. Let's just say some very unfortunate things happened, and we kind of just had to go. It was time. Even though a lot of us in the family, we missed the house, and some of us kind of wish we didn't leave. I kind of wish we didn't, in a sense. I think, honestly, everyone in my family kind of agrees. We missed that house a lot, but it's been a decade at this point. It's been well over a decade, 11 years at this point. It's time to move on, effectively, but it seems like out of everyone in my family, I had the hardest time moving on. And that's where this dream came in. I've had several dreams that go into a similar theme, moving back into that house. Now, there are a lot of dreams that had this theme, and I even have some recently still to this day. Somehow, like, maybe we ended up buying the house again, or the people who originally owned it just gave it to us, or I moved in with the people who were living there, which I don't even know who's living there now. I've never met the people, so... And if I recall, like, it's been long enough that they could have easily moved out too. That's another question. But anyway, so no matter what the situation, we somehow find a way to move back into the house. And I end up starting to unpack and put everything in my old room. My old room is typically how I remember it from either back before the house fire or after, because we did do a little bit of remodeling. My room was in the same position, it's just that the walls were redone and everything, and it was painted a little differently. Before the house fire, they were kind of like just this tan wood pattern, but afterwards it became like a dark blue. I wanted black, but my mom said, no. But anyway, typically it's the wood pattern because that's the one I have the most memories with. I remember just putting stuff up, all the current stuff that I have, like my desk, my computer, everything. And sometimes I'd even have my dog be a part of it too. Like, come here, baby. A lot of the dream would involve Nightmare kind of just be sitting on my bed watching me put everything down. And for those who don't know, we didn't have Nightmare when we lived in the Jefferson house. We actually got Nightmare a year after. We moved out of that house in 2012, and we got Nightmare in 2013. And if we stayed in that house, that's one of the few bad things I feel as if would come if we never moved out, was I would have never got Nightmare, because we got her from the other side of the country when I was living in Washington State. So, I never got my best friend. She looks fucking terrified. Alright, I'm sorry, baby. She sometimes doesn't like to be picked up. Look at this little biscuit doll. Look at her little biscuit. Look at her little biscuit. Sometimes my sister's cat, who also came after the Jefferson house, would be walking around my room too. And a lot of the dreams would just come up like that. I'd be exploring the house again, you know, going over memories, being happy that I'm back there, and just setting everything up. But one dream in particular that went into that theme made me very confused. It actually made me concerned. It actually happened a year or two ago. I was living in this place, and one day I was And in the dream, I was, putting stuff up. I was hanging stuff on my walls, putting stuff on my shelves. And then I just look over at my dog sitting on the bed in my old room inside this house. And all of a sudden, I just start laying on the bed and bawling my eyes out. Just crying like no one's business. Crying tears of joy. Saying, I'm home, I'm home. But yeah, I woke up shortly after that. And when I did, I was like, oh my God. Because it made me realize there's something wrong here. There is some deep problem that needs to be addressed. So I remember calling my mom and telling her about the dream. She sometimes knows that I missed a house, and she knows sometimes that I have dreams of the house. Then I told her about this one where I cried. She seemed very confused and a little concerned too. It's like, why would you have that dream? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I missed it that much. The thing is, though, let's say hypothetically I found a way back in that house. A little food for thought. I don't believe things would really be that much different in my life. Well, I don't know. We'd have a bigger house, that's for sure. I wouldn't be in a small trailer. That's one thing, but when it comes down to it, would the things really get better? Would my life really go back to being the best it's ever been? Honestly, I don't think so. I think the reason I missed that house so much is because, well, for one, it was a nice house, and two, I associated the most with my childhood. I think... Now, I'm someone who talks about a lot of nostalgic media a lot, but I have my wits about myself when it comes to nostalgia. Typically, I'm able to look back at certain things and say, it didn't really age that well, or I feel the same about this, or, oh, it's better than I remember. And believe it or not, there are cases like that. I do have my wits about me, and there are times where I will admit, yes, there are certain things I like purely for nostalgia. I think nostalgia can play a part in some of it, but I do have my wits about me. I like to be critical when I need to be, and still like to give things a fair shot. And I'm not going to say I'm so nostalgic that I just hate everything that's current. I'm personally someone of the belief that, yes, there are good and bad things in every generation, but it's not an equal 50-50 split. That's why I think it's completely okay if you prefer entertainment from different eras, and, like, if you're not a big fan of stuff that comes today. But I'm not someone who just says everything current is bad. Because, hey, you gonna say that to Pizza Tower? You loser. Honestly, at this point, I think I really do miss that house just because it's the place I associate with my childhood the most. I do think in that case, it purely is just nostalgia. I can't admit this. Fucking screen just did a weird flicker. I didn't do it. Or maybe it was reflecting off something on here. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be kooky? Yeah, it's definitely something to think about every now and then. I do have a better handle on my mental health. I think the crying dream came at a point in time when I, was having the worst control over my mental health. Nowadays, I'm having a lot more control. I talk to a therapist every now and then. In fact, tomorrow I have a new therapist appointment. I take Lexapro to be able to help out with my emotions, and things are definitely improving. And even before I had the crying dream, I kind of already knew that, yeah, I missed a place, but would being there really change the things? Would it really make my life instantly better? Probably not. I'm content with where I am. Definitely things could be better, but right now I am way more motivated. I have been recording videos, preparing content like a man. But so anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope it gets even more beautiful. Your connection will be strange.